Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into a field that's, well, it's getting a lot of buzz, a fascinating sort of new high asset class litigation funding.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this deep dive, we're going to look at it specifically through the lens of one company, 3Pay Global, and its founder, Peter Murray. We've got the source material right here.
Exactly. And our mission really is to use that material to give you a shortcut, help you get properly informed on this. We want to understand, how does this actually work?
Uh-huh.
Who can potentially get involved now, and maybe why it's showing what looks like pretty significant potential.
So let's start right at the beginning. What is litigation funding when you boil it down? The core concept.
Fundamentally, it's about investing capital into legal claims.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting up the money needed to pursue a lawsuit, basically.
Right. And in return...
In return, you get a share of the winnings, essentially.
Yeah.
If the case is successful through a settlement or a court award, you get a piece of that.
It's definitely an alternative asset class. Relatively new on the main stage, you could say.
Yeah. But the source material highlights the growth potential as potentially massive.
Okay, and that brings us nicely to 3Pay Global. You mentioned them. Talk about their origins.
Well, initially, the company was quite UK-centric. Peter Murray, the founder, started by working closely with local co-funders, mainly on UK-based claims.
A more localized setup.
Exactly. But there's been a pretty big shift, a full rebrand, actually, and now the focus is really on expansion.
Ah, so moving beyond the UK.
Yeah, moving into emerging markets, opening up the whole concept globally, bringing in potential co-funders from, well, everywhere.
Got it. Now, if you're looking at this space, understanding the timelines is probably key, right? How long do these things typically take?
Good question. The kind of cases 3Pay tends to get involved with, they usually run for about, say, 18 months. That seems typical.
18 months. Okay.
But, some can definitely stretch. We see mentions of 24 months, maybe even a bit longer. It really depends on how complex the case is.
And how hard the other side decides to fight it, presumably. Delay tactics and all that.
Precisely. And this timeline actually influences when investors prefer to get involved.
How so?
Well, even though the whole claim might take 18 to 24 months, the source suggests that not many co-funders are jumping in right at the very start.
Okay, why not? Too long to wait. Capital tied up.
That seems to be part of it. The preference, much more commonly, is for co-funders to come in later, maybe around the 12-month mark.
Ah, interesting. So halfway or two-thirds through. Why then?
Because by that point, the case isn't just an idea on paper. It's usually quite well developed.
Right.
Key legal stages might be passed, discovery could be done, you're getting closer to an actual trial date.
So the legal team's already put in a lot of the groundwork.
Exactly. The heavy lifting is done, you could say. The strength of the claim is much clearer.
And assessing the chances of a win or a good settlement becomes, well, significantly more predictable, less guesswork.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, there's a major trade-off involved here.
Okay.
The earlier you're willing to commit your capital,
Yeah.
the potentially much, much better your return could be. It's a direct link to the risk you're taking on early.
Ah, the classic risk-reward scenario. Are there numbers on that?
There are, and they're quite stark. For co-funders willing to jump in right at the beginning, like before court documents are even formally filed.
Yep, the highest risk point.
Right. The potential internal rate of return mentioned is as high as 75%.
75%. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Compare that to coming in much later in the process, closer to resolution, then the potential return is more in the, say, 10 to 20% range.
Which, 10 to 20% is still pretty solid in most investment climates today, let's be honest.
Absolutely solid.
Yeah.
But the source explicitly says the early entry potential is just not in the same league.
That massive difference really shows you the premium for taking on that early stage uncertainty before the case is fully proven out.
Exactly. So how does 3Pay manage all this? How do they operate to try and manage the risk but deliver these kinds of outcomes? Peter Murray apparently has a core rule.
Okay, what's the rule?
3Pay never puts a claim forward to potential co-funders unless 3Pay itself is already financing it with its own money.
Okay, so they're always in first.
Always. It's a non-negotiable, skin-in-the-game approach. They lead with their own capital before asking anyone else to join in.
That definitely signals confidence in the case, doesn't it? Shows they believe in it.
It has to.
Am I right?
And it's not just about the money. They also make a point of backing these claims with top-tier professional teams. Meaning elite commercial litigation solicitors, really skilled barristers who specialize in these complex fights, and leading independent experts, forensic accountants, industry specialists, whatever's needed.
So not just any lawyers, but the heavy hitters.
Pretty much. The strategic goal seems clear. When the defendant and their lawyers look across the table, or virtual table, they see the quality and experience lined up against them. They understand straight away this isn't going to be easy. They can't just dismiss it or drag it out indefinitely without a serious fight.
Makes sense. Deterrence through quality. And what tends to happen then, when a defendant is facing that kind of setup, a strong claim, well-funded, top lawyers.
Well, according to the source material, the vast majority choose to settle.
They don't fancy their chances in court against that kind of opposition.
That seems to be the calculation. The risk of a judge ruling against them, especially with strong experts and advocates presenting the case, is often just too high compared to finding a settlement number.
So it shifts from if it will settle to how much it will settle for.
That's exactly how it's put. It's rarely whether it settles, but how much.
Is there an example of that?
Yeah, there's one mentioned. A claim Peter Murray was involved in against an auditor. The claim amount was $85 million.
Big number. Did it go all the way?
No, it didn't go to trial. It settled for $24 million.
Okay, so 24 million instead of 85 million. That's quite a bit less.
It is less than the headline claim amount, obviously, but it's still described as a very significant result. And apparently, the claimants were thrilled with that outcome.
Right, because getting 24 million pounds locked in avoids the risk and cost of a full trial, even if you might have got more.
Exactly. And that kind of substantial settlement, even if it's below the absolute maximum claimed, is presented as a pretty common outcome in these well-backed cases.
Interesting stuff. It's funny because Peter Murray's background wasn't even in law or finance like this.
Right. The source says he didn't plan this at all. His background was completely different. Pensions and insurance. Working for a big financial institution way back in the 1980s.
So how did he end up funding lawsuits?
It was apparently quite by chance. Stumbled into it unexpectedly around 2017.
What was he doing then?
At that time, he was running his own company. It specialized in debt recovery and business rescue. So helping clients who had lost money in commercial deals, particularly, it seems, property transactions gone wrong.
Okay, so he was already dealing with financial losses in business.
Yes. And doing that work, he started noticing a pattern.
A pattern?
Yeah. He kept coming across clients who'd lost really substantial sums of money investing in these off-plan property developments. Buying apartments or houses before they're actually built.
Right, I know the type. And these developments collapsed.
Exactly. The developers went bust, became insolvent, couldn't finish the buildings, couldn't return the deposits. Classic scenario, unfortunately.
Okay, but where's the litigation angle?
Well, the crucial thing he noticed, the common thread. Most of these buyers who lost money, they'd all use the same law firm to handle their purchase transaction.
The same law firm for multiple failed deals. That sounds suspicious.
Or at least, it sparked an insight for Peter. He figured if that law firm messed up, if they were negligent in handling the deal for one client,
they were probably negligent for the other clients using them for the same kind of deal.
Precisely. Suddenly you have a link. These commercial losses weren't just bad luck. They were potentially caused by professional negligence, a legal claim waiting to happen.
Connecting the dots. So what did he do?
He decided to take the plunge. He actually stepped in as a funder himself on one of those negligence cases, stemming from that whole off-plan property mess.
Funded it himself. Okay.
Well, he found a solicitor who was willing to take the case on a no-win, no-fee basis. Conditional fee agreement,
Right. So the solicitor only gets paid if they win, reduces the upfront cost.
Exactly. So the case went ahead, and they won.
They won. Okay, that must have been the light bulb moment.
Totally pivotal, it sounds like.
Well,
it proved the model worked. It showed that litigation funding could actually be a viable way to recover these kinds of losses in complex commercial situations.
And I bet things snowballed from there.
Pretty quickly, yeah. The source says not long after that first win, the same solicitor came back to him. Another case, similar negligence angle probably, but this one needed more significant funding, $1.2 million.
Okay, quite a step up. How did he manage that? Did he fund it all?
No, this time he brought in partners. 2 other funders came in for £400,000 each, and Peter put in the final £400,000 himself. So $1.2 million secured between the 3 of them.
And did that one work out too?
It did. That case was also successful. This was back in 2018.
So 2 successful funded cases pretty early on. That really would cement the approach.
Absolutely. And the source suggests that since 2018, Peter Murray has been fully focused on this, building a reputation, identifying these strong claims, putting the right teams on them, and, crucially, delivering returns for people co-funding with him.
And now, with the rebrand to 3Pay Global, the goal is clearly bigger, taking that UK success international.
That's the stated aim. Replicating the model internationally and specifically opening up the platform more widely, making it potentially accessible even to retail investors.
Which is a big shift. Usually this is institutional money or high net worth individuals only.
Right. And the philosophy they're pushing isn't about like wild speculation. It comes back to that idea of commercial logic with legal precision.
Explain that a bit more.
It means starting with a clear, understandable business reason for why the money was lost. That's the commercial logic. Then applying really rigorous legal strategy and top-tier expertise to recover it. That's the legal precision.
Got it. Logical loss, precise recovery.
And the intended outcome, the big picture goal, is to give, as the source puts it, ordinary investors access to the kind of potentially high returns that were previously only really available to huge institutions or the super wealthy.
Democratizing access to an alternative asset class, essentially.
That seems to be the pitch. So whether you're maybe looking to diversify your existing portfolio or you're curious about stepping into a completely different kind of asset class, co-funding with 3Pay Global is being positioned as this opportunity, one that tries to blend that grounded business sense with high-level legal execution.
And based on Peter Murray's journey and the track record mentioned, there's evidence the approach can work. Now they're just trying to scale it and open the door wider. Seems like it. So just to recap quickly for everyone listening, we've touched on litigation funding itself as this growing asset class.
Yep. We looked at 3Pay's specific model, that crucial skin-in-the-game rule, their use of elite legal teams.
We talked about that really interesting risk-reward dynamic based on when you decide to enter a claim as a co-funder. Big difference in potential returns.
Right. And the tendency for these well-structured, well-backed claims to actually settle before trial.
Plus, Peter Murray's rather unexpected, almost accidental journey into this whole field, driven by spotting that pattern in the property market failures.
It really does show how insights from one area like business rescue can unlock opportunities somewhere completely different, like legal finance, just by seeing connections others might miss.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Just consider how this whole approach essentially tries to turn strong legal arguments, things like professional negligence or breach of contract, into a potentially investable opportunity. It's bridging that gap between the world of law and the world of finance, and potentially making it accessible to far more people than ever before. Something to think about.